We've all been bent over. What you don't do is accuse referees of cheating.
I mean, you walk out the stadium not knowing whether a goal's been given or not. That's stupidity.
Releasing the audio just shows the magnitude of the incompetence, right? It doesn't change anything. It's like, oh, I think you got it wrong there. No shit, Sherlock. Do you know what I mean?
Welcome to Not Fix Podcast. You're here with your host G. Got the star-studded panel as usual today. We've got Marv, George, and Ollie. How are you doing, gents?
Evening, G. How are you?
I'm a little bit nervous, to be honest with you, after seeing that lineup for the game tonight.
We've got a Not for Clicks derby happening tonight. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't want to call it a derby because the derbies are usually competitive. This one won't be.
Oh, jeez.
You lined down already, G.
Have you seen the lineup?
I haven't seen the lineup, but the lineup's terrible all the time. Like you're going on like one player out, and you're going on like it's the end of days. Or have I missed something? Are you missing like 10 first team starters?
They've put we do every week, to be fair, but they've put Thiago Silva and Chalobah on the bench as well. So
you just two centre backs.
So we've got two at the back. Badiashile and Disasi.
Okay.
Otherwise known as Disaster.
The Disaster, yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Light food.
What's right with it, Ollie? Is the question.
It's light food. Oh
wow.
I heard that Badiashile is actually decent. Did I hear wrong?
No, you know what? Last season, one thing I give Graham Potter credit for, his defence was good. And I think it papered over a lot of the cracks. So Badiashile looked a lot better than he actually is. Or maybe it's because he came back off an injury, but he's been shocking this year. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, we've got a packed agenda, so let's just jump straight in. So, off last week, but since the last episode, the Prem pretty much crashed out of Europe, apart from Aston Villa. Shout out to them, so we'll discuss that a little bit later. Inter Milan and Leverkusen won their respective leagues. Davies beat Haney in a massive shock, and we'll talk about that a little bit later too. It's going to be another Manchester derby in the FA Cup final. And Marv, your boy LeBron, his Lakers were beaten by the Nuggets last night. And rather than focus on... I don't know why I'm screwing up his face.
Well, why are you calling it? What? I did not claim him at all. You see, this is the problem. And what we got to realise here is, like, newsflash to all of you. This is recorded. Right? It's documented. My exact words were, it was a poignant moment because he broke the scoring record. I went on to say, I really dislike him and he's a liar. And then you now called him my boy. It's just like, this is what I expect Jordan to do. This is like a total misquote. Do you know what I mean? People are going to go, oh, Marv likes LeBron. I don't. I actually can't stand the geezer. Do you know what I mean?
To be fair, G, that was kind of thing that I would do. So yeah, that's
I know for the best. What can I say?
Shocking. Yeah, cool. Players are heating up in the NBA, aren't they? Lots of people are taking 2-0 packing straight out the gate. So yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
I found it funny that he made such a big deal. It was pretty similar to the Prem, really. He made such a big deal about like the VAR.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever. But actually, they lost 20 points, 20-point swing, and he missed a 3-pointer right at the end as well. So
yeah,
it's always the ref's fault.
Yeah, they shouldn't be there. Lakers have been terrible this year, so they deserve to go out. To be fair.
Cool. All right, let's hit some quick hits. I'm going to start with you, Marv. So, Marv, put yourself in a position. You're a goalkeeper. Which striker are you most confident facing on a one-on-one? Gabriel Jesus, Nico Jackson, or Timo Werner?
Or Anthony.
He said striker, Jordan.
Sorry.
He said striker. Werner, Jackson, or Jesus?
Jesus, yeah.
I mean, I could play all three of them. I'm keeping a clean sheet. Let's be clear about that. But, I mean, you know me, G. Every now and again, I get struck by recency bias, yeah? Based on this weekend. Nico, come on. see if you can hit the fan in Rosie. The funny thing is, G, I think I could do a one-on-one against Nico Jackson and not be in goal. Like,
Oh.
I could be up for a corner, and they can catch me on the counter, and I still would back him to miss. So yeah, I'm going Nico Jackson. And I actually think Werner would do me on a 1-to-1, and Jesus would just skill himself up, but Jackson would probably not even shoot. Lay it back to my defender. So yeah, definitely Jackson. That was an easy peasy. My easiest pick hit so far.
Can I just ask though, to add to that, G? Are we like writing? Is Jackson done now? Can we agree that what we said at the start of the season?
You know what? You know what I'm saying? He's 22. He hasn't played that much football.
He's not 22. He's not.
22.
He's 22. His birth certificate that he made with his Epson scanner might say he's 22, but he ain't 22. I'm telling you that for nothing. Show me some bone density scores before you tell me he's 22. That man is not 22.
Let's move on. George, you're up now.
Yo,
In the aftermath of the FA FA Cup semi-finals, who was more embarrassing, Noni Madueke or Antony?
In terms of their performance, or are we talking about the post-match celebration?
Yeah,
after the
so
game?
we're talking about Anthony cupping his ear to the Coventry players, or Madueke laughing and joking about with Jack Grealish, while Thiago Silva was crying.
Crying, yeah. See, the thing is, I'm gonna go with Antony because I think he might be one of the worst players in the league, right? And the season that he's had, the lack of humility and shame, and fair play to Manchester United, because if you I don't know if you saw, but when Højlund scored that penalty, he ran to the fans to celebrate, but there wasn't another United fan within a mile of him, because they knew, get your heads down, take your win, and get the hell out of it. They had shame. So fair play to them, because Antony and Højlund didn't show any shame at all. I mean, the whole laughing at the end thing, it doesn't look great, right? But is there video footage or is it a photo? I've seen a still of it. I've not seen any video footage.
I think it's still of the video, basically.
Because the still can make it look worse. We don't actually know what he was laughing at. He was chatting to some of the younger guys. Look, it doesn't look good. The optics are bad. But I think he's a horrendous player as well. But I'll give him a pass in the fact that we don't know what he was laughing at. Whereas Antony, it's like, really? You were 3-0 up against Coventry and you almost should have blown it. You've won on penalties.
Ten Hag said today that he was it was because of provocation. There'd been something going on.
Yeah,
do you think that he should rise above that?
If that's true, no, because I can't be a hypocrite. I always blast fans that get precious about players chucking it back after for 90 minutes they've been saying your mum's this and your girl takes it in the arse, so you can't then complain when a player gives it back to you, right? But I just think in that scenario, that was quite a unique scenario, Ollie. You've just been taken to penalties by Coventry. Just get down the tunnel. Just get out of there. Just get out of there. So, and answer your question.
I think you're asking a lot of him. Listen, we don't know what goes on the pitch and what gets said. And I know if I was in his position and someone had been saying something to me, you don't know what they've been saying. They might have been ragging him about his business with his wife or whatever's going on, and he might have just thought, you know what, I'm going to give it back to you. Do you know what I mean?
It's Coventry though. Oh, it's like a little schoolgirl laughing at you. It's like a little schoolgirl doing a no towards me. What am I going to do? Go and fight the little girl? Like, just rise above it. And there's levels here. Come on, there's levels.
I think you're asking a lot. I don't know what happened, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I think Anthony's a bit of an easy target, really. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that if Ten Hag says, actually, I thought Ten Hag. We've pointed out a few times when Ten Hag said a lot of rubbish in his press conferences and tried to make us believe things that aren't true. But I actually thought he came out quite well of his press conference today. He said he thought the media were embarrassing, and I totally agree with him. I think there's some.
You've stole my thunder. That was my third question.
Yeah.
So
I think
my question
it'd be embarrassing. Well, let's go for it.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Roll into the third question.
So, what was the bigger disgrace, the United result or the media reaction to it?
I think the media reaction to it, really. I think a win is a win.
The result was good. The result wasn't embarrassing. The performance was embarrassing.
Yeah, the result was good. They won.
Yeah.
They won. So they're in a cup final, and to my mind, getting to the cup final is an achievement, and to get to two cup finals in 2 years. Whatever you think about Ten Hag, that's an achievement. If it was your boys, G, you'd be celebrating it. So, I just think that...
I think I'd have gone home like the United fans tried to.
Well, I've never been a fan of leaving games early, no matter what's happening. And if the score's still level, and in this age of VAR, you surely would wait until you see what happens before you walk out of the stadium. I mean, you walk out of the stadium not knowing whether a goal's been given or not. That's stupidity. But to my mind, I just feel that listen, there's a lot that's gone on this season with United. Granted, and they haven't been playing well. But the stats say the guy has got to another cup final. He's been there 2 seasons. He's won one trophy. He lost the cup final last year. He's in a cup final this year. So he deserves some credit for that.
Fair, and we'll touch on that game a little bit later anyway. Well, let's get. Speaking of penalties,
can I just make sure we're gonna get there? Because if we're gonna get there, I'll hold my tongue. But if not, I'm gonna have it out right now. So let's be clear. I don't want to save something for something that might not happen.
Oh man, Arsenal just scored
1-0, 4 minutes in. That's embarrassing.
Turn the TV off. Oh, you know what? Let's take it there now. I mean,
let's have it out because I'm absolutely fuming. I'm raging.
So unfortunately, this means 2 questions in a row for Ollie. So Ollie, and I think I got the response to what you're saying now. But basically, from my point of view, Coventry would deny the extra time winner and possibly the greatest comeback in FA Cup semi-final history.
He was offside, G. He was offside.
Gee, please tell me.
Hear the question.
Your angle is not Coventry were hard done by. Please tell me that's not your angle.
Here's the question. Ollie, as
he was offside. What do you want to do? Do you want...
Can I another question? As a football fan, what is more important to you, the accuracy of the decisions or the spectacle?
What? I don't even understand that question. The thing is, what are you saying? That we should just turn a blind eye to the fact that he was offside and let them score because it's a good story? I don't understand what you're telling me.
I guess what my point is the point of the offside rule was to stop goal hanging, right? When it's that tight, would you not just prefer the epic story to? So
in answer to your question, that is exactly what G's saying. He would rather have G would rather have a good story, that he can tell his nephews and godchildren for years to come. Oh, where were you when Coventry came back? Than just having the rules adhered to. And when we get to the rules, it seems like unnatural or natural where your hand is irrelevant when it comes to Man United. And I can't believe that this is the line of question that G. You know what, G? This is the first time. I don't know how many pods we've done now, 10, whatever. First time I've missed Jordan as host. Ridiculous. G, what you're saying is ridiculous. Let me tell you something. Coventry 3-2 up. Man United get a penalty at 3-3 for the handball, exactly the same. If United got that penalty, the world would be up in arms. That we would have that ref's address. We would know where he lived. We would say same old United getting the decisions. It was a shocking decision. And if we win 3-2, everyone says United almost crapped the bed, but they got the win. The narrative changed, and it's all down to the referee and those idiots at Stockley Park. It was a shocking decision. I was there. I couldn't believe they gave it. No one could believe. And obviously they don't show replays on the TV because that's going to incite riots. But Wan-Bissaka was so hard done by there. There was nothing he could do. And the fact that in the game playing against UG with Grealish, hand was in a much more unnatural position. No one bat an eyelid. You didn't get the pen. This is a vendetta against Man United. It's been going on since Onana cleaned out that striker's clock in the first game against Wolves many moons ago, and it's just continued ever since. I've said my piece now.
The thing is, the stupidity of it is with that decision. I mean, the big kind of issues this weekend has been the whole Nottingham Forest thing. I've watched quite a few of these refs come on TV, and they've all said to a man that the Ashley Young incident where it hits his arm is not a penalty. Yeah, it's not a penalty. Everyone's kind of said, they all agreed, well, maybe the first two weren't penalties, but the third one definitely was, right? Everyone said that what is the difference between the Ashley Young one, which the refs, Mike Dean I saw on the TV say, and Dermot Gallagher say on the TV, that's not a penalty. What is the difference between that one and the one that we saw given against Wan-Bissaka? Because Wan-Bissaka there's no way he can get out of the way of that ball. No way. And he's not moved his arm towards the ball. It's not in an unnatural position. That is not a penalty. And so I don't know how this has just completely been lost by the media, because the media are so busy going on about this Forest business and talking about that. No one's actually made the connection of, hold on a minute, all you refs are saying that this Ashley Young one is definitely not a penalty, but then your man is given a clear penalty and no one said anything about it, about the Wan-Bissaka one, which clearly wasn't a pen. So they can't both, I don't understand how one can be given and the other one isn't given. So that, and that's a problem for me. I just look at it and think that the game should never have gone into extra time. Coventry, if it had not gone into extra time, we'd have had a situation where everyone would have said, oh, Coventry had a plucky fight back, but, in the end of the day, Man United were totally in control of that game for 70 minutes. And, they went to sleep for 10 minutes or so and Coventry got a couple of goals back. And there wouldn't be all of this nonsense going around about Man United were lucky to get there. The fact is they got there. They got to a cup final. No one cares. Well, I don't care anyway. No one should care.
Yeah, it's everything that G said, right? Like, talking about the Wan-Bissaka penalty makes it like it's a let off for United. The narrative want to be we were terrible the whole game, Coventry in mid-table, magic of the FA Cup. The saying that the Wan-Bissaka penalty is not a penalty does not help that narrative. We've talked about narratives before. I'm just a little bit fed up. I'm particularly fed up with G's line of questioning, to be honest, because the fact he went to the offside was shocking to me. Like, by the letter of the law, they got that one right.
Well, I mean, that's just lunacy. That's just lunacy. Gee, that's a red card, actually. As a presenter, that is a red card. To actually come out with something like that was, which is just because, yes.
In my defence, there's actual images.
No, you haven't got a defence, G.
I've got a defence. There are images of it where it actually looks like he's on. In fairness. It was very tight.
There's images of Garnacho being on against Arsenal. I didn't hear you piping up about that then.
Listen, I just asked the question.
Look.
Let's move on anyway. Let's move on.
I'm livid now. I'm rattled again. I'm rattled. Let's move on.
But G, the thing is, if we'd been talking about this from the outset of the season, fine, yeah. But these are decisions that have been going on for a while. These kind of heads, breaths. Decisions about, is someone's arm offside or whatever. Yeah. This isn't new. So let's not get towards the end of the season where we start looking at it and saying, oh, do you think that we should be allowing these because Man United got away with, or in your mind got away with one? They've been going on all season.
Personally, from my point of view, I've never liked the rule. So I know you guys will say, well, it's the rule, and even if it's a centimetre,
no one likes it. No one likes it. No one likes it.
All right, so that's the next. It's a fair question then.
No, it's not, because no one likes it, G. But that's the way it is. No one likes it because because really the whole point of playing attacking football and making the game entertaining is the benefit of the doubt should be with the attacking team. And if it's that close, you can't you can't see quickly, okay, he's kind of, maybe his arm's offside, but as far as we're concerned, we're going to let that go.
Yeah.
That's what I think most fans would turn around and say, well,
that should be
they
a goal.
would be all right with that. That should be a goal.
And
but that's not the way it's been working, G. But that's not the way it's been working.
But no, it's not the way it's been working, but that doesn't mean that we can't question it.
No, absolutely not. I agree. I would agree with that.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, let's move on anyway. Next question. So generally, I think we can accept that this one's for you, Marv. So you have to calm down. But the standard of refereeing has been terrible for a while now. But this season has been particularly bad. But we only mentioned the Nottingham Forest talk before. Marv, was it a matter of time before a club did a little bit more than ask to speak to Howard Webb after a series of bad decisions?
No, I think they shouldn't have done it, to be honest. As bad as the refs are, we're getting into dangerous territory. Do you know what I mean? What are they going to start doing? They're going to start looking up whether a ref attended a Luton game back in 1992, G. Like, it's getting a bit shocking. I think it's worse because obviously Forest hired Clattenburg to be like the refereeing consultant, whatever that made up job is. So he's either advised them very poorly or has done nothing. But that being said, G, in a time where points deductions are being handed out willy-nilly to the smaller clubs, and as far as I'm concerned, at least 2 of those 3 penalty shouts were bang-on penalties. Plus the fact did you see Ashley Young's interview? Like, he couldn't have looked more guilty if he tried, right? Like, it's a shocking decision. But
did you see Ashley Young's Instagram story the following day?
No, what did he do?
He posted a story of the Justin Timberlake album cover, and he's playing Cry Me a River. He's playing Cry Me a River.
That's shocking. Yeah, I love those pantomime villains, him and Mope and them guys there. Like, I love it. But the bottom line is, maybe it was a matter of time, but I think it's dangerous territory, and I actually don't know what the solution is, right? Because, if we were talking about this 5 years ago, we'd say video technology's there, use it, do what we need to do, let's go back, let's make those decisions. We got video technology, it's arguably got worse, and that's the bit that that just doesn't compute with me. The refs
in this country.
Yeah. And the thing is,
I'm convinced, Mark. Sorry to interrupt, but I'm convinced that in other countries the refs use it better than they do in this country. I just think they're terrible in this country. Sorry,
thing is,
carry on.
Like, I get, like, even with the offside that G was so devastated about for Coventry, I get that because we're talking about a big toes width here, all right? So I get that. But some of these are just stone cold bankers where you're just like, I'm surprised the ref missed it, but the safety net of VAR catches it, and then it's just gone wrong. It's the same thing when we had, was it your boys when it was Liverpool? That one when they were up in arms and they released. And the thing that makes me laugh is when they go, releasing the audio is going to sort it all out. And I'm thinking, releasing the audio just shows the magnitude of the incompetence, right? It doesn't change anything. It's like, oh, I think you got it wrong there. No shit, Sherlock. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. Like, I actually don't know why clubs ask for it. But you want it rubbed in your face. It's almost like a fella doing your wife, and then you want to hear the audio of it. You know what I mean? What's that gonna do? You know what I mean? So it's like I don't know, mate. Sorry, G, I digressed, but it's been coming. But I don't think Forest can actually do anything, right? Like. The way they wrote about the last sentence about considering their options, I don't know if they're gonna like do a protest or take them to court or whatever it may be, but I don't think Forest's reaction is gonna change anything. I don't think it does them any favors with the next tranche of referees they're gonna have. So I think it was a bad call from them, and I think it was impulsive based on them just, arguably being very frustrated with amazingly poor refereeing.
All right.
I mean, how bad have you got to be as a ref though when you're watching a game and it's Ashley Young and he's done 3, he's been involved in 3 incidents, and you think the law of averages would tell you it's Ashley Young, one of those has got to be a pen. Surely you've got to look at that and think, I'm just going to give it because it's Ashley Young.
The last one. the last one just killed me because he just folded the striker. It's like it was some linen and he put it in a suitcase. Do you know what I mean? Like he just folded him. And I couldn't believe it because the striker in front of him.
Did you see after he brought down Odoi? Did you see his look up at the ref? He knew it was a pen. Young knew it was a pen. He actually knew it was a pen, man. He looked up and he just thought, I'm done here, I'm done. And he looked up and he could not believe this. And the ref was running the other way. He couldn't believe it.
And I don't know what the splits are in terms of when the pens, because I just watched the highlights, but I think 2 was in first half and the last one was in the second half. So to your point, I don't know if the referees have TVs. They probably don't. But I'm going back in my dressing room and watching those 2. And the minute I see Ashley Young out of the corner of my eye on that third one, I'm thinking, if he makes any contact at all, I'm doing him. Because he's got away with 2. I'm getting him for this one. And that was arguably the worst one. And he got away with it. And that's when, in all fairness to Forest, that's when you've got to start, like, questioning stuff. Whether there's more at play
right? You think that these refs, because they do, but you know that these refs pick on people, yeah? You know that they've got their little black books, right? There's certain people who think, I know he's a diver, I'm not going to give him anything. Or this one who's like, who's doing all sorts of, dodgy things. You must know with Ashley Young, there must be a case where you're just thinking, this guy, he's not really a defender. How has he, by the way, Marv, how has he got away for so long with being a defender? He started out as a winger, he's a forward, and now he's a defender. He can't defend. He's never been able to defend.
No, but this is it always happens. The same with Valencia when we had him, right? Like as they get older, they just move further and further. But I'm sure Thiago Silva started as a striker. Do you know what I mean?
You know what? So, when we talk about Valencia, it's time to move on. Seriously.
Sorry.
Hang on. Can I just say that the Forest statement was an embarrassment? And people like UG and other people in my football groups that were saying that the Forest statement was rightfully written and their stance was correct is even more embarrassing.
Well, hold on, George.
It's embarrassing.
George.
There should be a shame. There should be points for that. They should have got points for that.
George, allow me the right to reply because I never said the Forest statement was good. Yeah. But what I didn't like was Gary Neville saying, "Oh, you know what? You can't do it that way." Back in my day, Ferguson comes out and says the same stuff.
The hypocrisy. I get it.
That's why I didn't like.
No, but the difference, and I don't want to defend Gary Neville here, but the difference I think he's making is that it's different if you have a manager doing a mad thing. This is the club.
But the manager is a representative of the club, particularly Ferguson.
Say that again. He's a representative of the club. This is the club, Gabriel.
And the social media guys are representative of the club too.
No, they're all. That's what I'm saying. But that would have been signed off by the hierarchy. Gabriel, this came out when they were previewing the Liverpool game. They drafted it in the second half. It's embarrassing.
Honestly, when Man United were in their
there were some points.
There was no one more important than Ferguson. And if Ferguson can say it, a social media guy.
So let me ask you: was Ferguson bigger than Man United?
Probably at times he probably was. Yeah.
Come on.
To be fair.
Come on, G.
To be fair, we've got social media now. Who knows what Fergie would have done if he had Twitter? We just don't know. We're doing a lot of speculation. I just love the fact George just sat quietly letting this debate the minute he said G was going to move on, and he just made sure he took G to task. Like, just when we move on, G backed it. And he's wrong.
You know what? George, you're right. Forest didn't come off looking good out the statement.
No, it's worse than that, though, G. It's worse than that.
But the point that I'm making is refereeing has been shocking.
I agree.
How long can you just say, I want to meet with Howard? There's got to be something else you can do.
G, this is what you do. Because let's have it right, as Ollie has explained. They were wronged badly. These weren't incorrect decisions. These were howlers. So and it's not the first time they've been wrong. What was the other game about a month or two ago? There was some shocking calls anyway. So they were wrong.
The Liverpool game where they got done in a Liverpool game, the late goal Liverpool scored something.
That's right. So walls have been done over. So look, the levels on the floor. This is what you do. You get all the other 19 managers and owners and say, as a collective, we have to link up and stop this happening now, because we're all being affected by this. It's Arsenal 1 week, it's Spurs, it's United. We've all been bent over. What you don't do is accuse referees of cheating.
But
You can't do that, G. You can't do that.
George, and you know what? When you're in this seat, and I understand sometimes we have a go at you, Jordan, and I can feel your pain now, because I'm here to play devil's advocate and I'm taking it to the deck. But it's all good. I'm still going to play devil's advocate.
No, I'm putting it on you. And the end of the statement said, we are going to review our options. What does that mean? What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
George, can I switch gears slightly, but to get to answer your question?
Please.
There's a clip going around at the moment with this old referee from like when Ian Wright was at Forest, yeah? Mm-hmm. And where he said Ian Wright gave him a little bit of lip. And then after that, he stopped calling for fouls against them. And that Walsall players noticed that and kept on piling in on him. But he kept on saying, play on, play on, play on. I say this to say, referees are human. Why is it so bad that you question the integrity of a human? No one should be above the law.
No one should be above the law, but I just think when you start questioning the integrity of professionals, we're in a dark place, G. Where does that end? The statement essentially is saying, my man supports Luton, he's a cheat.
But you
just can't do that, G.
But hold on, do you not think the FA are wrong to have, if it's true that he supports Luton, so is there not conflict of interest in there?
I find this interesting because I heard an interesting point today. The idea the Luton fan wants Forest to lose is also flawed. It's also flawed because if anything, a draw suits a Luton fan. So this idea that he's got an agenda against Forest is the first problem.
George, I hear you, but what I'm saying is we've talked about kind of conflict of interest with things like gambling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Should somebody who's a Luton fan be in the box for that game? I'm not sure it should be.
Ideally, no. But how many referees can there be out there? And what if you're not a Luton fan, but your whole household are Luton fans? Are we going to say, oh no, he can't ref that game because he's a Notts County fan, but oh no, his wife, his kids, his mum, his dad, they're all Luton fans. No. How far do you take that? I lived in Luton for 25 years. How far do you take that?
The thing is, the problem I have, George, going back to the Man United game, and I think I mentioned this in the group the other day, the problem I have is, okay, you're probably pushing it a bit too far to call a ref a cheat, but I honestly believe that referee and the Man United,
it's incompetence.
I honestly believe, well, I think it's more than that, George. I actually believe that referee in that Man United game, when that Wan-Bissaka incident happened, he got caught up in the drama. Yeah, and I don't think
that's fair. That's fair.
He thought to himself, oh wow, penalty, and the Coventry players came running towards him, and he lost all judgment. He watched that and he looked at it and thought, I got to give it. He got caught up, and I'm not saying that's cheating, but it's not exactly. I'm not convinced it's impartiality. It's not being impartial, is it? Yeah, no, I think there's something. I think there's something seriously wrong when you know. And listen, as G said, they're all human. Yeah, people do stuff. Whether it's on the Sunday League thing, and they're thinking, "Oh God, what if this went to extra time? What a game! What a comeback!" And I'm the ref in the middle. It's like, I'm sorry, but I just think he looked at that and he gave that on the strength of the drama around it. He got caught up. He did not think about
possibly,
the fact,
maybe
that's not a pen.
Yeah, maybe. I won't push back on that.
If anything, George, if he should have really at least go to the monitor and have a look at it. Yeah,
at least pretend. Is that what you're saying? At least the optics. At least pretend.
At least be like, you know what? The Coventry players have come to me asking for a pen. I'm not sure. Let me go to the monitor and have a look. Yeah. You've got that option. Go to the monitor, have a look. But to give the pen, stone cold, give the pen and say, and be strong about it. I just don't see how that. I don't see how he came to that decision. I just don't see how that was right. And that's what I'm saying, George. I do think that referees get caught up in emotion. They get caught up in certain things, or even the player who's giving them a hard time or whatever, and they think, I'm going to do this guy. I do think that they do things that they actually that aren't 100% impartial.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Let's move on. Let's not batter the referees too hard because Jordan might get upset. All right, cool. So great couple of weeks in Europe whilst we were here, and also while we were off. Fortunately, no English teams in semi-finals of any of the major tournaments. Jordan, I'll come to you first because you've been a little bit quiet. If Ancelotti was to win the Champions League with Real, does he then surpass Pep in the GOAT conversation?
It's a good question. I mean, I do think that Ancelotti has become a little bit of a, not afterthought, but when people talk about the greatest managers of all time, or even present, I do think people then, oh, Pep, Klopp's are great, oh, Ferguson, oh, Mourinho, oh yeah, Ancelotti as well. He does tend to kind of be the third or fourth or fifth name on the list of managers in that conversation. And when you think, someone said to me that a few weeks ago that he's the only manager to have won leagues in the top 5 European leagues. And I thought, is it 5 or is it 3 or 4? I genuinely thought it was like 4. I couldn't remember the 5th. And it actually is 5. He's won leagues in the top 5 European leagues. He's won European Cups with 2 clubs. He's won European Cups as a manager and a player. I don't know if this matters, but no one dislikes Ancelotti. I don't know if anybody has any kind of particular ill feeling towards Ancelotti.
Everton fans,
fair enough. But even then, they didn't. I know he did them over, but they hate me. Everyone hates me, but they didn't even necessarily. They didn't like how he left, but you don't hear them spitting blood about it. They don't hate him. I don't think.
I think they've got other things to worry about, George.
Well, true. There's that. Well, that is true. But I do think Ancelotti doesn't get quite mentioned in the same sentence as Guardiola, and I think whether he wins the Champions League or not, I think that he should, because I think his resume, in terms of breadth, I don't know. There isn't anybody else that can boast what he's done over 20 years of management. So I think if he wins it again with Real Madrid, I think we have to have some serious chats about whether he is the greatest of all time. I don't think he is, whether he wins it or not, but I definitely think that he's too far down the list of managers when we talk about that subject for my liking.
So cool. Marv, what would we had some really cracking games, and I think the City Real Madrid game probably at the forefront. I was really upset when the away goals rule got taken away, but it seems that teams are going for it a little bit more in the first leg as a result, which I think was the aim. Have we missed the away goals rule this time around?
It's the same thing with the FA Cup replays, G. I think everyone just loves the tradition, but if we really go back to Champions League games of yesteryear, there was a tactic in terms of see if you can nick an away goal and then take them back to your house and do the business, right? That was a lot of people's MO in terms of the knockout stages of Champions League. Personally, I've loved it. I can't remember more goals, more excitement, more people just leaving it all on the line in a long, long time in the Champions League, right? So I don't know if it's the away goals or it's just the way the game's played anymore, but no one can look at the round of the semis and even the quarters and think this hasn't been entertaining. I've missed a couple games and they've been thrillers, right? And particularly the PSG Barca game and the Real City game, the first leg. We're talking about champagne footy, G. I don't know what the people want. If you want the away goals back and you want the Jose Mourinho park the bus mentality, then have at it. But I'm here for the current state of play right now. So sayonara to the away goal as far as I'm concerned.
Nice. Great stuff.
Was that a sending off, Marv, in that second leg for Barca? Was that the right decision, do you think?
Yeah, but Araujo's just a bit dirty, right? And he changed the game, but he's been sent. You know who he reminds me of? Oh, Pepe. You know what I mean? You can bet on him to just be a bit combative. It was a game spoiler, and the thing about it is, the thing that always frustrates me about when it comes to professional fouls is there was just so much of the game. You just keep it clean. If he scores this, you got so much game left. You put the team under pressure, and I think if they kept 11 on, I think Barca win it, but it just flipped the whole script. Do you know what I mean?
It was a shame, really, wasn't it?
It was. It really was. And I think the thing that was weird though, because Barca just all lost their head after that, didn't they? Because Xavi got sent off. I think whoever Xavi's number 2 got sent off. And like, if you're a player on the pitch, you're just like, it's all unraveling here. Like there was no way back after that. Even Araujo was complaining to like the 4th as he was going off, and I'm just like, mate, you're the last man. You're obviously the last man. Contact probably wasn't shocking, but it was enough. Just get off the pitch, mate. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it was one of them ones. It was a shame though, because I don't really like PSG.
Me neither.
I don't really like him. And Luis Enrique was very boastful, like it was all tactics, and you're just like, come on, Enrique, mate. You played against 10 men for like 3/4 of the game.
He even came up in the Paramount studio and was giving it the big Larry as well.
What, with Micah and the boys?
Yeah. Because I think Jamie Carragher predicted that they were going out or something. Well, actually, he predicted that they were going through, but he made a mistake, and that came in and said, you said we were going to lose.
Yeah.
Cool. So, question for you, George. So we've only got Villa now in the Vauxhall Conference of the European League. Do you think the lack of success in Europe this year could have a knock-on effect on transfers and transfer fees coming up this summer?
In what sense?
In the sense that teams are getting less prize money, and teams might project to get less prize money for next year if the success is not so good.
English teams?
Yeah.
Nah, because the Prem money is just so fat. You know, you get, I forgot the figures now, but for finishing 20th in the Premier League, I think you get more than the team that comes runners-up or something stupid in La Liga. The money in the Prem is just sloshing around so much that I don't think teams not doing well in Europe is going to massively impact that. I kind of think the opposite, in the sense that I think for teams like Arsenal and even Villa, if they get to the Champions League next year, that extra Champions League money that they're going to get for being in it, in Arsenal's case, again, Villa's case for the first time in this current Champions League format, I think that would just give them an extra advantage. And this is the reason why I think it's really embarrassing how well the English teams have done this year in Europe. At the start of the season, I was running my mouth saying how really all the English teams should be getting to, in all 3 competitions, bare minimum the quarters. In the case of Liverpool, they should be winning the Europa League. The case of City, final at least. Arsenal, last 4. United and Newcastle, quarters minimum. Do you know what I mean? The amount of money that's in the Premier League and the Premier League teams have, and the coaches that they have, they've got so much more than the rest of Europe. It's embarrassing to not get to the semi-finals. And all right, the slight caveat is Arsenal and City went out to Bayern and Real Madrid, right? There's no real shame in losing to those European giants. But even
stick
so,
on United. Stick on United.
Well, I mean, not even any shots, but for United and Newcastle to not even get out of the groups, it's like, what we doing? Liverpool should be walking.
George's right, man. Man United, they didn't just not get out of the groups; they came bottom.
They came last.
That's like,
but
not even a Europa consolation. Just get out of the cup.
It's not even about United. But if you look at Liverpool. Liverpool are a Champions League contending team. They should be walking the Europa League. But they're getting slapped by Atalanta, who are a good team. Don't get me twisted. They're a good team, but come on. I just thought it was a really poor showing overall as a collective.
Yeah, Atalanta slapped them good, man. Shout out to Atalanta, man. You made me happy, man.
City, but I mean, City are a kind of, they lost on penalties. It's kind of, I'm not saying it's understandable, but anyone can get done by Real. Really, when it gets to this stage of the Champions League, anyone can get done by Real. They just turn into a different beast, don't they? And they can beat you. They can turn out performances that you even after all these years when you've seen them win Champions Leagues against the odds, they just seem to have that level of professionalism when it gets to this stage. But I have to say, George, I don't think it is straightforward that you went out to Bayern. The warning signs were there against Porto, really, that you didn't really see off Porto.
We've not been good in Europe this year. Our whole European campaign has not been good.
But given the way you were whacking teams in the Prem, like 4s and 5s and 6s and whatever, But then going into the Champions League and the Porto game, you scrape through, and then Bayern.
Celebrate that they won it
let's
as well.
let's be fair. Bayern are not been great this season, and yet at home they've kind of they've given you a run for your money, and then. I don't know. Did you really show them anything at their place? I didn't see the whole game, George. So,
no, I think it's disappointing to go out to Bayern, but I think us going out to Bayern, it goes back to your earlier point about Real Madrid, and I've been saying this for a few weeks. I think there's something about being a seasoned, been there, done it European club that you just can't buy. And Arsenal aren't ready yet. They're just not there yet. And I don't care what form you come into the game with. I don't care what team you come into the game with. There's something about the Reals, the Liverpools, the Bayerns, the United, the Chelsea, but even United, years back, that they just have that. You just have as a club, you have it. You can turn it on. It's mad. Bayern have been dogged in the league.
And in a weird way, George, even Man City don't have it, do they?
They don't. Not yet.
I think that's why they lost to us. To be fair, I think the occasion got too big for them. Yeah.
And that just takes. I always kind of quote United and Chelsea. They had to go through a lot of pain before they won their first Champions League. There were some knockouts in the quarters, in the semis, in the final. It takes time to know how to navigate.
No one's ever won their first final.
No,
so never happened. So
they have. Yeah. So I think. Listen, the form we were in, people would say you should have given them a better game, but. Let's not be silly as well. Kane, Sane, Muller, Kimmich, Neuer. There's some bad boys in that team, and when you put that in amongst a European season,
they had a few out though, George. They had a few out.
They did. But
Coman and Gnabry weren't playing. But I hear what you're saying. though. I totally hear what you're saying. It's kind of they've got that. They're Champions League royalty, aren't they? And they've got that know-how. And some of these clubs, when it gets to the quarterfinals and the semi-finals, they got that know-how to get them over the line. And Arsenal just didn't really know how to do it really. And to be fair to him, Tuchel pointed this out. He said in the press conference before the game, we've got that experience. Arsenal are the form team, but we've got that experience. And he was right. He got proved right. They've got players who know how to play at this level.
And I think another factor, just sorry, G, before I shut up, a factor as well is it's not only knowing how to navigate the European Cup, the Champions League, but it's doing that whilst navigating a Premier League title charge. There's not many teams that know how to kind of handle both of those at the same time. And we're not there yet. We haven't won one yet. So to kind of manage both at the same time, that takes time. That takes time.
Real quick one for you, Ollie.
Yes.
Any sympathy for Pep with all of his players asking to come off, not being able to get, having to rest them for big games? Is the scheduling harming the players like you think, like he says?
What scheduling are we talking about though? Where they're involved?
Well, I looked at, so City had they had a Champions League game on Wednesday, and then they had the FA Cup game on the Saturday as well. They went to extra time on penalties on Wednesday. And I think as much as a lot of people talk about Chelsea giving City a good game, but actually, I think City were just knackered. And I think they played in second gear. And I do wonder whether, especially this week in April, it's always a tough week. Whether there's just too many games, and the FA couldn't be a little bit smarter with the way they scheduled things.
Yeah. This is the problem you're always going to have when you're in all these competitions. This is why, you see some teams who take a dive in some of these, some of the other cup competitions because there's just that many games. And when you factor in the international breaks as well, where, the players don't get a break, they're basically playing all the time, it's always going to be a problem, and that's what you need. That's what that's what you come up against if you're going on all fronts like City are every season. The thing is that City really, I actually think City have gone into the season a bit undermanned, really, in terms of their squad. They've let quite a few players go, quite a few experienced players as well. And they've had a lot of injuries this season. So yeah, they've asked a lot of players like Rodri and Foden and Haaland, and Haaland's been injured quite a bit this season, hasn't he? He's not really been the force he was last season. So yeah, I think that, but I think they lost quite a few players in the summer, and I don't think they properly. I mean, they got Kovacic and they got a couple of players in, but I don't think. I think for the amount of games that they know they were going to have, I don't think that they really did enough to replenish that squad when they lost the players they did in the summer.
Can I just also briefly again add that I had sympathy for City because I think the leagues and the federations are flogging players with the schedules. However, I think they're doing it again, and correct me if I'm right, City and Spurs went on a pre-season tour, I think a week after last season finished, or was it the year before? I remember it's after one of the last 2 seasons, there was a big story about them starting their tour of Australia or Abu Dhabi like a week after the season ended. So the clubs can help themselves by not taking these players out on global money-making tours that build the brand. And I get all that, but you can't have it both ways. You can't say our players are knackered, you're putting too many games in the schedule, but you're the ones in the off-season filling half of it with world tours. Do you know what I mean? So
I think Spurs are doing that this season.
I think they are. I think they are.
I think they're going to Melbourne to play Newcastle or something straight after the season ends.
Well, they can't fill the empty head, so they got to fill somewhere, right?
Yikes!
Right away. Let's move on to the doc. And speaking of City, this week's doc review is Pep Guardiola chasing perfection. Marv, I'll start with you. How did you enjoy it?
I liked it, G. I thought it was a good watch. We always talk about learning some new stuff. I learned some more new stuff, so that's always good. I think the other thing I point out, we've talked about it a million times, is the fact that actually it was interesting because we did actually get Pep, right? We got people around Pep. So I thought we'd get a bit more of the gory details, but still it was a bit fluffy, a bit nice. Some of the things that I would have liked to have seen is they talked about Ronaldinho playing the bongos and no discipline. And then 1 minute you saw teams like Etu and Ronaldinho, the next they'd gone. And I'd love to have got into the drama of him moving those types of players out, how he made Messi become Messi. But it just talked about, how and the clues in the name, they talked about how it all went wrong with Bayern against Real Madrid because he asked the players and he vowed not to do it again. So overall, I enjoyed it. And it was interesting because I didn't know anything about the fact that Barca B smoked the Barca first team because they didn't take it seriously. So there was lots of interesting things. So yeah, I thought it was all right. As far as the BBC go, because I'm not a fan of BBC docs, especially after that trash that Ollie recommended with that rugby player.
Who's going to become a big NFL star, and you're going to have to eat your words.
Let me tell you, I will humbly eat my words if he becomes a big NFL star. But I'm pretty confident that that's not going to happen.
George, can you do documentaries on an individual and not have any input from them at all?
So that's a perfect question for me because I didn't watch the documentary because, just for full disclosure, I wasn't meant to be on the pod this week for listeners and viewers, so I didn't actually get time. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but that's a question I actually can answer without having watched it.
Great.
Yeah, I don't think you have to have the main protagonist in the documentary to have a good documentary. There's still, one of my bugbearers, but there's still documentaries being made now about Michael Jackson, about Bob Marley, and they're dead. So I think if you have the right people around the protagonist that can give you original insight and can give you something that you don't know, that's my big thing with documentaries. Tell me something that I didn't know. So yeah, I think if you've got good archive, if you've got the right people that are saying the right things, then yeah. In fact, some documentaries I can't think of it off the top of my head right now, but I've seen documentaries that are really, really good without the person. Do you know what I mean? So, there's one I saw this year actually. It didn't have the main person in it, but yeah, I don't see it being an essential thing needed. No,
fair play, Ollie. It took me back to the real needle between Pep and Jose, and I didn't realize how much possibly Jose wanted that Barca job and didn't actually get it. who do you think will be? I don't really see another rivalry with that type of needle coming out soon. Even Pep and Klopp, it was fierce, but it was kind of nice. They like respected each other. Can you see another rivalry like that kind of emerging?
Not really, no. I think everyone's kind of so wedded to this way of playing now, full intensity, high pressing. I mean, that was part of it as well. They were just, as the documentary points out, they were complete opposites in the way that they wanted to approach the game. And so that kind of added to it, on top of the fact that Mourinho probably thinks that he should have been offered the Barca job ahead of Pep. It's complete different, philosophies on the game. Whereas now everyone's kind of playing the same way, and a lot of people are kind of disciples of Pep. And I suppose, going back to your question about Ancelotti, I suppose with Pep is seen as someone who kind of redefined the way the game's played. And I don't think, with the best will in the world, Ancelotti is a top manager, but I don't think that anyone would say that he's redefined anything. And that's probably why he doesn't get the kind of, the recognition that Pep gets. But, it's interesting. The doc was interested in that respect, in kind of going over the history. But then, I don't know, I just feel like it goes back to what I was saying before about, a lot of these docs. I kind of feel like, you're retreading the history, but you're not actually, there isn't anything there that I wasn't aware of before, really. I mean, there's little bits, like Marv was saying, there's little bits there. But I was kind of aware that Ronaldinho was the problem, and he'd become someone who was just going out clubbing. And they had to do something about it. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like, what is there? What's there really? What's there that, I didn't kind of, that what I wasn't aware of before, and I didn't really get that sense, even though it was still very watchable and interesting. There was some interesting bits, but yeah, it didn't kind of make me feel like, wow, this is a documentary that kind of was kind of really telling me much that I wasn't aware of before, really.
Can I just add you that I think the next big rivalry will be Arteta and De Zerbi. So when De Zerbi goes to Liverpool or United, that's the next that's the next big rivalry. But my final point is going to be that I think Klopp, Jose and Pep is like a really unique and special rivalry, because you've got two managers at the peak of their powers who are diametrically opposing in their way. You've got basically prizes versus process. You've got one manager who all he cares about is winning. Just win. I don't care how you win. I don't care how it looks. I don't care how it comes. I don't care what you've got to do. Just come back with the W, right? Versus the manager who is all about the process, who values, no, there's a particular way of playing football. And people will say it's very fluffy and cultured and airy-fairy. Maybe it is, I don't know. But I respect a man that actually wants to win. This isn't saying that Pep doesn't want to win, but wants to win, but sees the game as art and sees the game as performance, sees the game as entertainment. So the value you give to people in terms of how you win, and this is, I share this view as well, is of equal value to actually winning. Versus Jose, who is just, this is why I could never have Jose at my football club. I never wanted him in my team, because it's not just about winning for me.
I've got some.
Well, you don't win anything. You don't win anything.
We don't win anything, but how were the years under Jose with you?
Josie was there for 2.5 years, George.
It doesn't matter. You won, but were they good times? Did you enjoy it?
Oh, listen to me tell you.
Did you enjoy the time that Josie was there?
Arsenal fans banging on about style of play have Arsenal fans with empty cabinets. Now, if you are happy about that, then good for you.
Marv,
but all of this, I wouldn't have him at my team. You'd have him at your team if he was going to bring you a trophy.
No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. And first of all, it's not Arsenal fans. It's just me. I might be the extreme minorities. Arsenal fans may take Jose.
What are you telling me?
No. I'm saying I value how I win on par with winning. It's not just about winning.
I can't. Hold on 1 second.
If I was a player, Mark, if I was a player, it'd be different. If I was a football player, it'd be different. I'm a fan.
We did not have this pod last week, okay? The week before that, you played piss poor football, Jordan. And you came on here against City, you put us to sleep. And you said sometimes you've got to get dirty, you've got to do all that. What are we talking about, Jordan? This is pure hypocrisy.
Marvin, how many games this season have you seen us play like that?
Jordan, it doesn't matter.
No,
it does matter.
Like that. No, it does matter.
Oh, so what you're saying is you take Jose for one game to win a trophy.
No, I'm not saying that. No. I'm saying playing Manchester City at City is a very unique circumstance. It's very unique. Is it not unique?
Oh, Jordan.
Oh, lads, we're gonna have to wrap it.
No, because Marvin's calling me out and I'm not having it. Yeah, because you can disagree that process is nonsense. That's fine, but don't say that I'm a hypocrite because I'm not. I enjoy watching good football. No. I enjoy watching good football. Yeah,
George, as you know, as much as he irritates me, does Klopp change the way he plays against Guardiola?
Does Klopp change the way?
No. So why is Arteta doing it?
Because Arteta hasn't got the squad that Klopp had.
Oh, come on, George.
I don't know about that.
You're spending hundreds of millions of pounds.
All right, so
you're spending hundreds of millions of pounds.
Hang on a minute.
I agree. You're spending more money than Liverpool now.
So let me ask you: the prime Liverpool team under Klopp, is our team anywhere near that team?
Well, I think I would say that. No, hold on, Jordan. Let me answer. I think in terms of the tools that Klopp received, I think it's pretty similar. I think Klopp made a lot out of the players that he had. Like if you said,
there's not many Klopps.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I'm saying in terms of the actual resources, it's actually quite similar. I don't think it's as far apart as you think.
Who have we got comparable to Salah?
No, yeah, but that's it. When Klopp received Salah. When Klopp received Salah, he was not
Van Dijk, Mane. Come on, guys, I'm not having it. No. It's not comparable. It's not comparable,
George, they all came on leaps and bounds after being coached by Klopp.
Because he's a freak. Because he's a freak.
Yeah, why isn't Arteta the freak? That's what the question is.
Why am I not Usain Bolt? Why am I not Michael Jackson? Why am I not bloody Roger Federer? What kind of question is that? That's the whole point of a freak. Gee.
Yeah, I'm not having it. Let's move on. How many clicks? Start with you.
Marv's lost it.
Because you're trying to put it on me and I'm not having it. I've been consistent. You can disagree with me, but don't call me a hypocrite. Don't call me a hypocrite.
Ollie, how many clicks?
I'll give it a 3. Go on.
Give it a 3.
Yeah.
George, did you calm down? How many clicks?
I didn't watch it, so move on. Just go to Mark. No, he's pissed me off now.
3?
Give it 3.
Just go to the Willis list because I've got things to do, man.
I'm gonna change my Willis to Jordan's Jared Bryan.
Why?
You know what? For everyone listening to this pod, just replay that whole segment and watch George twist and turn, right? From, I want beautiful football. I'm okay for one game. He didn't have the players. We don't have the players. Tell me the players one for one. They have to adapt if they don't have the players. It's just, it's littered with hypocrisy and BS.
It's all facts.
Right?
It's all facts.
All right.
It's all facts.
George, okay. I don't want to upset you anymore.
No, I'm not upset.
All right, so let's draw that.
The Willis will be quick. We've
agreed 3 clicks, and now it's time for.
What you talking about, Willis?
She has got 0 composure. I can't lie to you. He's really upset, and I love it. I'm totally here for it. I'm totally here for it. I like Arsenal fans to tell me they don't like to win trophies. Because that means
I never said that. That's what you told yourself we said. No one said that we don't like to win trophies. I like to win, but I like to win enjoying what I'm watching.
Let Marv drop the Willis, man. They've got.
All right. Right, I'm gonna do a couple of quick honourable mentions, G, because we missed the Willis last week, and some things can't go without us talking about it and just mentioning the idiocy of some of what we've seen. So I want to give a big shout out to your best friends, G, Nico Jackson and Madueke for the penalty saga. Totally tainted, arguably Chelsea's best performance. And you know what? It just looked like hood playground crap. It was really embarrassing, and I was embarrassed for you, G. There's nothing good about it. You can't blame Poch. You could only blame them and their entourage. So I had to call that out. Got to call out my boy Naby Keita, right? Out in Germany, wasn't in the team, so just went home and has since been suspended for the rest of the season. Like, this is just some real stupidity that we're seeing here. And some of you might have not seen it, but Chris Froome, the cyclist, Olympic cyclist, his wife came out and said there's no such thing as innocent Gazans in relation to the war and atrocities that's going on there. So I had to call it out. But really simply, there's nowhere else I can go. I've got to give it to Anthony, right? Like it's we talked about it in thing, and I think what's really funny, you won't have seen it, but Rio Ferdinand on his pod had Andreas Pereira, who's ex-Man United, now at Fulham, and they were talking about Endrick. And Rio said to him, talk to me about Endrick. How good is Endrick? And he said, the thing about Endrick, there's not an English word for it, but in Brazil, they call it Iluminado, which means the special one, the chosen one. Out of everybody, he's the one. That's what Pereira said. And I'll give you two guesses, G, what's tattooed across Anthony's neck, right? Like, this guy has delusions of grandeur to levels we've never seen before. And I get the fact Harg's come out, and Anthony's actually tweeted today that he was provoked, and he was just back in his club. He was thing, but he came on. I was there, G. He came on. He did nothing. And despite as much as I've protested against the fact that it shouldn't have been a penalty, the bottom line is Man United let a 3-0 lead with 20 minutes to go slip. We've got through to penalties. We've got through on penalties. It wasn't anything that anyone's going to come and pat themselves on the back for. And the fact he was cupping his ears to a mid-table championship side who took us to the wire, it was embarrassing. His season is embarrassing. He's scored no goals in the Premier League. Every player we've ever seen this season score a goal has scored more than him in the Premier League. In 50 games, he's got 4 goals, right? Like, we are talking Mateta almost has scored more than him. Like it's not up for debate. Anthony, I don't even want to say I've got nothing positive to say about you. You're one of the footballers that I wish the police did their job, because if they took you off our hands, I'd be really happy, right? So Anthony, welcome to Luigi.
Oh man.
Those are the views of Marvin.
I have to say that was a brilliant. and on that note, I would have called it a night. But please like, subscribe. If you haven't, why have you not done it by now? Get it done. Like, subscribe, share. We're on all platforms. I'm G. We've got George, Ollie, and Marv signing out.